Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today we're going to be discussing which OU Pokemon from prior generations will end up Ubers due to the changes that Crown Tundra introduced. Now, for those of you who don't know, a lot of new Pokemon are being released later this month, the 22nd, I believe. And on top of that, not only will these Pokemon be introduced, but some of them will be getting new moves, and that could make them much better, or other Pokemon getting new moves could improve or hurt their viability in something like the OU metagame. And because of this, I've highlighted 4 Pokemon that might just be good enough to go from OU to Ubers this generation. These are 4 Pokemon that are known as being OU Pokemon, be it in last generation or in 2 of them, their cases over multiple generations. And because of that, it's going to be very interesting to analyze what their viability will be. Will it be too much for the metagame? Will it not be too much? And also play with them when it's released, because I can guarantee you that all 4 of these Pokemon will be starting in the SSOU DLC2 Crown Tundra OU metagame. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the first one, and perhaps the most scary of the 4, and that is Topolele. Topolele is a very strong Pokemon. It is a high special attack stat coupled with the ability Psychic Surge. I'm going to give you guys 4 points basically explaining why it is very good and what is helping it improve. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same for every single Pokemon. I hope you guys like this format because people mentioned in the last video that the GIFs I was using on the screen for Metagame Monday were a bit much for their eyes, and I figured this might be a bit of a better format with a faded background and some actual points, some text on it. Let me know if you guys prefer this, or if there's any other middle ground you'd prefer. I'm trying to avoid the team builder aesthetic because it's not as professional, and I'm trying to improve that a little bit. But if you guys prefer me going through it in the team builder than this, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and discuss Topolele first and foremost. It has the ability Psychic Surge, which sets up Psychic Train, and as Psychic Train, as well as other trains, they do have a slightly lower effect this generation than in last generation, but still devastatingly strong. And when you pair it with the move Expanding Force is a move that is very strong. It's 80 base power, which, okay, on the surface, like, oh, it's just as good as Psyshock, or it's weaker than Psychic, but it doesn't even hit the physical defense stats. So it's like, what's the point of that? And then I'm like, okay, but it also gives you 1.5 times the power under Psychic Drain. So that's right. Expanding Force is a new move Topolele gets with DLC 2 Crown Tundra. Right now, you might be familiar with seeing it on teams like Indeedee, obviously uses it because it's also Psychic Surge, or Pokemon like Alakazam might use it when paired in conjunction with Indeedee, which, yeah, entirely fair. But Topolele now gets it, basically completely obsoleting Indeedee and also being absurdly strong. For example, it's capable of 2-killing special defensive behemoths like Blissey. So let's say it's turn 1. You have your Topolele out, and they lead with a Clefable or a Toxapex, Pokemon that, trust me, both you and I alike would like to have absolutely annihilated. First and foremost, both those Pokemon get one-shotted, so you could forget about them. Assuming your Topolele is holding a choice specs, of course. So let's say they go to their Blissey, I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal, no big deal. It's taking at least 45%. There's a chance, especially if you're modest nature, that you already 2-KO it. And that is not with a super effective move. That is just with a stab special attack. Yes, it's boosted by choice specs and Psychic Drain multiple times over, and stab and whatnot. I get it, but the fact that it is the sheer power to 2-KO it, I mean, nothing short of choice specs for Kyogre's Water Spout was able to do that previously, and I think that speaks volumes to how strong a specs Topolele is and why it might very well be too strong for OU. In addition, there are some other little things that benefit it, such as in prior generations, such as SM, really the only generation. I don't know why I said generations. I'm tripping, guys. But last generation, the spec set was used a bit less due to the fact that locking into Psychic or Psyshock means that you're potentially pursuit trapped by things like Tyranitar or Weavile. Pursuit is no longer in the game. If you click an errant move and click a Psychic or Expanding Force into Tyranitar once, it's not the end of the world. It can't pursuit trap you. You can get, 6.25% sand damage on you instead of Stealth Rocks or 12.5% entry, but that is much, much, much more forgiving. And yes, it might make Topolele prediction reliant, but let's say it gets a 1 Moonblast or 1 Focus Blast in that Tyranitar switch, forget about it. They're no longer an issue. And then you can spam the Psychic move just the same. And honestly, if you're forcing a Dark type on every team as is, it's already ridiculous. And I mean, look, Steel types, like Offensive Magearna, if it ever gets freed, 2-KO'd. Celesteela, even if it's especially defensive, 3-KO'd. I mean, I could go on. Skarmory is going to get 2-KO'd. In fact, Physical Defensive can get one-shot after Rocks potentially as well. Scizor, it doesn't have its priority, so it can't even one-shot you with Bullet Punch. And on top of that, it's 2-KO'd, even if especially defensive. It just, the list goes on and on and on. We're going to have to see some really interesting options, like maybe Assault Vest Metagross. And even then, if it switched into a Shadow Ball, which, okay, I get it, you might not run Shadow Ball every set, but still, if it becomes common, then that could potentially 2-KO or 3-KO it. And yeah, I get it, it's still a pretty good check. I agree wholeheartedly, but if you're forced to do measures like that to keep it in check, then it might be a problem. And in my opinion, if I had to guess one of these 4 Pokemon that was going to end up in Ubers for sure, that Pokemon will be Topolele because of these aforementioned traits. However, there are other Pokemon to analyze as well, and one of those Pokemon is going to be Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is a strong offensive pivot last generation with both physical and special options. Personally, I believe the special options range superior. While there was a time where the Z Wild Charge was pretty common, it became a fairly predictable option, and it was more of a one-dimensional set, and it also weakened the power of Hidden Power Ice, and that stunk for it. This generation, it gained access to moves like Play Rough in close combat, which I might discuss in a whole other video, like the novelty moves that these Pokemon got and other Pokemon got, because there's a ton of shifts in viability, there are a ton of new moves, and if you guys want a video on that, comment below. I'd love to hear your support, because if I see the support, I'm going to make the video. That's how this works. And because of that, it's already going to see some improved viability, even if it lost access to Hidden Power Ice, especially because there's no Gliscor in the game right now. And Dazzling Gleam is able to guard chomps, able to Landorus T. Maybe not for the one-shot like Hidden Power Ice could against Landorus T, for example, or maybe even struggle to kill Landorus T, but it's enough to chip it down eventually when you combine it with Rocks or Knockoff. It'll be okay. But what really makes it so much better than before, arguably, is that it has access to this move called Rising Voltage, which with its ability Electric Surge that sets Electric Train is so devastatingly strong. It might not be the same 80 base power as the Extending Forces from Topolele, but it's 70 base power, and instead of a 1.5 times modifier, it's double the power under Electric Train. And yes, I realize this still equals out to being weaker than Topolele, because Topolele's special attack is far higher than I believe Tapu Koko's 90 or 95 base special attack, but once you consider all the boosting modifiers, you got Electric Train boost modifier, you have the fact that it's doubled power under Electric Train, you have the fact that it's stab, you have the fact that it could be boosted by Magnet or Choice Specs or Life Orb may have you. All of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I've never seen a move boosted by so many different factors. This is hitting absurdly hard, and yeah, Topolele is not the strongest special attacker, but once you consider all the boosting modifiers, it's just ridiculous. It's going to be virtually uncheckable if you're not resisting it. It's going to kill everything it neutrally besides Blissey. I mean, shit, you got something like a Magearna? Gone. You got something like, Clefable? Probably gone as well. And I think that goes without saying that this is going to be a very strong threatening wall breaker, and for a Pokemon that is this fast, this is an unmatched level of strength for something in the OU metagame. Like, the combination of the speed and power, you see nothing like this. And it also has the coverage move. Not only does it have U-turn or Volt Switch to help it be a pivot, so let's say you bring in your Grass type, takes a U-turn or Volt Switch, and okay, a little chip damage, sure, but also it's getting out of there, it's letting you get in your super effective Pokemon. So there's something like Tornadus T, which we might touch on later, hint, hint, hint. But on top of that, it also has Brave Bird, Play Rough or Dazzling Gleam, Close Combat, Calm Mind, Grass Knot, the list goes on. The point is that Tapu Koko is a very impressive option. It's going to be hitting so hard for something that's so fast. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be immediately promptly ban-worthy like Topolele may very well be, and I'm not saying that's a promise either. It could not be. It could potentially be okay. I think it actually might be alright, but it's definitely going to be one of the stronger options in OU, if not in Uber. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. So again, Electric Surge is its ability. It sets up Electric Train. Rising Voltage is a new move that Tapu Koko got. Sorry, I typoed that. My bad. Shouldn't have copied this over. Might be. But yeah, new move that Tapu Koko gets, and it is from DLC 2 Crown Tundra, of course. It's a 70 base power move with double the power under Electric Train. And it's basically, like, think about it like this. You think a lot of fast Pokemon, like, okay, Weavile, Talonflame, Dragapult, and those Pokemon can hit pretty damn hard, I'd say. Pretty damn hard. My bad about that, guys. I actually just got a call in the middle of that. I just got a job offer, so that's great. I just have been working on that for the last couple of weeks, so I'm really excited about that. But I'm gonna get to that more in real life once this video is out of the way. Cause you gotta grind up the content for my friends, my viewers. Love you guys. But yeah, good day for me for sure. But anyway, getting back on topic, yeah. And just for a Pokemon that's this fast, nothing gets this far. Again, look at Talonflame, look at Weavile, look at Dragapult. Dragapult in the physical end actually is 120 base attack, but it doesn't really have like much to abuse that with before Dragon Dance. And like the point is that nothing has the sheer level of boosts and strength as Tapu Koko with this much speed. And pair that with the fact that Tapu Koko, okay, it's not the bulkiest Pokemon, much like Topolele, but it does have serviceable bulk, coupled with the fact that it resists some key typings such as Flying, Fighting. It's immune to Dragon, so yeah, I think that's helpful. And I definitely think they'll go a long way towards solidifying Tapu Koko as, if not a broken threat, then certainly one of the top tier threats in the SSOU post DLC 2 Crown Tundra metagame. Before we get into the next story, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the channel lately. We've been kind of surging in subscribers and views again lately, and it means a lot to me. We're going to keep this momentum going towards the DLC 2 Crown Tundra release, and then through that as well. But if you guys are watching this video, and you could feel free to maybe like the video if you're enjoying the content, and if you guys want to see more content like this, let me know in the comments below, or anything else, let me know in the comments below, because the algorithm does quite appreciate commenters, so that'd be great for me. But also, on top of all that, I noticed only that 55 to 60% of my viewers of these videos are subscribed to the channel. So if you guys could consider subscribing, that'd be great. But if you don't want to, if you don't have to yet, I can't force you guys to do that. I just want to say that it would be appreciated, and we're growing as a community. And honestly, my goal first and foremost is to help you guys learn about the game, get better at the game, and enjoy the game in whatever capacity you guys would like to. I'm going to bring you guys plenty of tournament coverage. I'm going to bring you guys some fun laddering, some team building, and also some analysis videos, be it like these speculation videos or like my Metagame Monday videos, which come out every single Monday, and they just discuss the current metagame in SSOU. And if you guys enjoy any of that content, be sure to check out everything I got on my channel. Thank you guys so much. Anyway, don't worry, there's still 2 more Pokemon that we're going to get into. We're only halfway through this video. The next Pokemon we're going to be discussing is Tornadus-Therian. Tornadus-Therian is a Pokemon that's been very good over the last 2 generations. In Generation 6, its premier debut generation as an OU Pokemon, it was banned in Generation 5 due to being too powerful. In Generation 6, it was great with Assault Vest, and even with Life Orb on occasion, although Assault Vest is far and away the superior set. And in Generation 7, it used Z-Moves or Rocky Helmet, and it got access to Defog. This generation, it gained so much more on top of those. It was considered a top 10 Pokemon in both Generation 6 and 7, which is already amazing how great it was. In fact, yeah, it did see some low lows during Gen 7, but near the end of the generation, it really surged in viability due to it matching up well with some Stealth Rockers and being a great form of semi-speed control on teams. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to phrase it. But in Generation 8, not only does it have the access to be a pivot with Regenerator and all those coverage moves, and yeah, it can run a Rocky Helmet set as well, but more importantly, much more importantly, one of the main weaknesses of Tornadus T is the fact that it was weak to Stealth Rock, which also negated the recovery from Regenerator. It now has access to use heavy-duty boots, which is absolutely absurd. It's going to be able to pivot in millions of times. I swear, guys, you're going to get this Tornadus in so many times once it's holding those boots. It can pivot in, get 33, pivot out, get 33, etc., etc., etc. And that's just so good at displaying how well it abuses Regenerator. And I think that's going to go a long way towards upholding the viability and solidifying Tornadus T as one of, if not the best Pokemon metagame, if not something broken. And why might it be broken? Because it gains access to Nasty Plot, a new move of Tornadus T, through DLC 2 Crown Tundra as well. It already is, a premier pivot, as I said, and now it becomes even more challenging to kill. But now, on top of that, it also has so many coverage moves to abuse Nasty Plot sets. Of course, there's stabs like Hurricane or even Air Slash if you're scared of missing, Focus Blast, Heat Wave, Grass Knot, Sludge Wave, etc. It does lose access to Hidden Power, so it can't run Hidden Power Ice to not risk missing Hurricane against things like Landorus T and Garchomp. But if you're able to connect on those Hurricanes at +2, forget about it. That's devastating. You can also run things like Knockoff to triple walls like Toxapex, Chansey, Blissey, etc. U-turn for pivoting in and out, Defog to remove hazards. The list goes on and on and on. And all in all, seeing as Tornadus is already banned in National Decks, which, by the way, I think people saying, oh, if it's banned in National Decks, it should be banned in OU are pretty stupid. Just complete full disclosure. There's no actual correlation or comparison between the two. They're entirely different metagames. You'll see different trends impact different things. So counters to Tornadus T could be better in OU than National Decks just because of how good other things are. There's a complete trickle-down effect of that, and it's solely metagame specific. So things could be OU and OU that are banned in National Decks, or things could be banned in OU that are OU and National Decks, vice versa. It really is metagame dependent. So I'm not saying, oh, it's banned in National Decks, therefore it should be banned in OU. No. But if it's able to play a similar role in this metagame, which is a big if, of course, it's not a definitive thing at all. It's very much up to, chance. It's very up to what the metagame shapes itself as. I don't think it's going to be like the first thing banned, for example. I think Tabula might be more pressing than it, but it could be the next thing banned. It could be looked into promptly, and it could be too good for the metagame. So we're going to have to wait and see how that shapes out. I'm very curious to see how that goes, though, personally. And finally, we also have Latios. Latios has been a staple in OU for generations. It was very good in Generations 5 and 6. In Generation 5, in fact, it is arguably, in my opinion, is the best Pokemon. Choice Specs Draco, even with Pursuit holding it back, was simply amazing. But on top of that, there's also some other things that really tie it together. In Generation 6, for example, it gained access to Defog, and also its speed tier makes it faster than common threats like Choice Specs Keldeo. In Generation 7, unfortunately, regular Latios definitely fell off a bit, with fairies becoming more and more prominent, such as Magearna, and also more natural checks to it, such as Celesteela popping up. And in addition to that, Mega evolutions such as Mega Latios took off in usage due to having a mix up with Earthquake to threaten things like Magearna and Pursuit Tyranitar. But, Latios still holds some viability throughout that time. And now, you look at it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, we're back to Gen 5, where Latios might just be broken. Why is that? Pursuit is no longer usable in Sword and Shield. Pursuit is not a move in the game. That is so crazy, guys. I mean, Tyranitar can come in and check it once or twice, because it's going to be able to withstand a couple Draco Meteors, perhaps, but what does it do if it can't trap it? It's just going to slightly chip it? That's not enough. But if that's not enough for you guys, if you're not convinced yet, it also can access to 2 moves that were much needed for Latios. Mystical Fire and Aura Sphere are now moves Latios gets in DLC 2 Crown Tundra. That means that Mystical Fire might be able to hit things like Magearna, Celesteela, Skarmory, Ferrothorn, Scizor for a 1 or 2 hit KO. Aura Sphere might be able to hit things like Tyranitar, Heatran, other steel types. 1 or 2 hit KO again. That's just amazing. Get a 1-shot on Bisharp, etc. And that just makes it such a hard Pokemon to deal with in DLC 2 Crown Tundra OU, in my opinion. Historically, Pursuit has definitely held Latios back. It's kept it in check over Generations 5 to 7. It's to the point that without Pursuit, I could say undoubtedly that the Latios would not have been unbanned in Generation 5. And arguably, Latios might have been too threatening as well. And the new coverage moves allow us to punish steel types, which is just amazing. I mean, again, the list of checks and counters is being diminished. It could run Combine sets, it could run Defog sets, it could run Specs with Trick, it could run, Roost, with 3 attacks Life Orb. The list goes down and on and on and on. The fact of the matter is that without Pursuit holding it back, it's going to be much easier to pivot in and out, and there are going to be fewer things to check it due to how strong it is as a special attacker. And while I know you guys kind of grew up in Latios being held back by Pursuit, a lot of you guys have played Generation 6 and 7, and I totally get it. But without Pursuit, I mean, it's a whole new ball game, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it shapes out. I think it might be okay in OU for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if it lasted at least a couple months, if not overall in general. But it's going to be very interesting to see how it abuses these new coverage moves and how Latios pans out in the OU metagame. So yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below too as well. Unfortunately, these are the only 4 that I believe will really be close to suspect of the returning OU Pokemon. They'll definitely be dropping some Pokemon down from Ubers that could potentially go right back to Ubers. That's of course going to happen. But we'll have to see what those are. I'm still not sure on the logistics of those guys yet, and we'll get to you once we know. But I mean, what other Pokemon do you believe might be problematic? I could be missing something. I mean, just some example. Kartana, Latias, Landorus T, Garchomp, Tapu Bulu, all very powerful Pokemon we're getting back as well. Personally, I don't think any of these Pokemon will be broken, but for example, Kartana and Tapu Bulu get Grassy Glide, which is really cool. Latias, again, not being affected by Pursuit and also getting the same new moves. And Landorus T and Garchomp are some conventionally very strong OU Pokemon. And while I don't believe Landorus T has ever been broken, not even last generation when it was at the peak, not close really. And I don't think Garchomp is really ever been broken since Generation 5 and 4 when it had Sandvale sets. It'll be very interesting to see how those pan out. So yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts on those. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day, guys. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and peace out, guys.